Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your man Gator, aka the Novice Knows, out here in these fragrance streets, and coming to you today. I'm kind of tongue tied. Coming to you today with a review of a fragrance that got a little bit of a buzz in the last year or so. Here, it's from a brand that I wasn't really familiar with until fairly recently. Just kind of checking out some of the other reviewers and everything online, and they mentioned the magic word that made me decide that I wanted to go and drop a couple coins on it. The magic word being iris, right? So I'm a big fan of the iris note in fragrances, and I have Givenchy to blame for that. But I decided to pick this one up. This is actually one that, like I said, got a little bit of buzz in the last couple of years in the fragrance community. This is Narciso Rodriguez Bleu Noir Parfum. Now, I had always, heard about the EDP, and there was a good bit of buzz, going for the EDP. It's kind of like an unsung hero in the fragrance game. But I saw the notes, and it was like, that sounds strangely familiar. Wasn't really jumping to get into it very much, right? But then all of a sudden, they announced this one a couple of years ago, and like I said, it just kind of caught my attention within the last maybe 4 or 5 months, and caught my attention because I was watching someone's review. And shout out Chaos Fragrances because I think it was them. I think it was Dallas, and it mentioned that it had iris in it, and to my nose, iris is great. So this is the bottle right here. As you know, I don't really do boxes a whole lot unless it's a Purdy box. If it's a Purdy box, I'll go ahead and play it. Oh, by the way, before I even get into this review, can you do something for me? I'm playing my best Drake role right now. Make sure that you like, subscribe to the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel there, and hit that notification button so you know when I'm coming to you with some new reviews and everything. So I'm trying to roll out as many as I can, and they're gonna be kind of bootleg. So just bear with me while I get my bearings about me. But anyway, this is the fragrance right here. This is the Narciso Bleu Noir. Let me see if I can get a good camera shot of it. Don't know if it's gonna get focused. Yeah, so a little bit of a lighting issue, but that's basically the bottle. The color's a little bit distorted in the camera. Working on the lighting in here, but trust me, I'll have that kind of going in a little bit. But I love the bottle here, man. The cap is actually pretty cool. I like that little handlebar cap here that you pull, and I love the bottle. The bottle style is awesome. Now, when it comes to the actual fragrance, as you know, I like to take fragrances before I even come to y'all with the word. I like to take fragrances and wear them out a little bit. As you can see, I got a pretty nice little dent in the bottle already here because I've been wearing it a little bit for the last couple of weeks, so I can give you guys a true representation of what this fragrance is. And to be completely honest, this fragrance is awesome. It's everything that I kind of thought it would be. So let me get into the notes here. So the top notes on this fragrance are cardamom, cypress, bergamot, and mandarin orange. We'll go get back to that mandarin orange in a second. The middle notes, of course, iris. And that's how would drop me to it. Musk and then suede. You do get that in there. And then of course tonka. You got sandalwood, vetiver, leather, and atlas cedar in the base of this. Okay, so starting out, let me jump back to that mandarin orange. I've been seeing a lot of fragrances playing with that mandarin orange note, and it does give a little bit of this subtle zing in. It's not something that's like burning your nose, but it gives you a little subtle zingy entry point into fragrances right now. And I think that paired with the iris on this particular fragrance is actually a work of art. It's a masterpiece of how they pulled that off. Now, one thing I will say about this particular fragrance is that it is powdery. It does get powdery. It doesn't necessarily go on powdery, but let me tell you something. If you got the notes of iris in there, which is kind of lipsticky anyway, and subjective to change with any type of additive you put to it, and then you put tonka bean in there to get it real powdery, yeah. And there's a significant amount of that powderiness in here. If you don't like powdery fragrances, you definitely are not going to like this, man. It's definitely a powdery fragrance, man. I love it though, right? Because the one thing I can say about this fragrance is that it performs, and it performs well. As a matter of fact, I know for a fact that it performs a little too well for me. Performed a little too well for me the first time I wore it here. So, well, actually, maybe the second time I wore it. Wore it out. I drive Uber, so I wore it out a day doing running errands, driving Uber, and everything. And I love the scent trail that it kind of walks when I turn my head. It comes to me. Man, it's a nice, pleasant smell. Man, it comes in really, really smooth and subtle. You get that like I said, get that orange in there and a little bit of that bergamot. The cardamom actually is responsible for a little bit of that powdery sweetness too in the top, and it just kind of just like an amalgamation into like this really smooth, slightly citrusy type of intro into the fragrance, right? It's almost like it kind of soothes its way into that iris, and I will say it is lovely, man. The projection on this is really good. As a matter of fact, like I said, I found out the hard way how good that projection is when I decided to wear it to the office. So you already know me, overspray till it gets to till it go. I try my best not to. Every once in a while I do, and when I especially love a fragrance, then I'll really kind of get into it and get myself into it because I'm spraying this fragrance for me. And I put it on going into the office, and I think I was fine that morning. But you know me, I like to bring a nice little decant of fragrances with me everywhere I go. By the way, invest in some of these decants on Amazon. They're fairly cheap and they're good to go, man. These function really, really well. But I wore it in the office, like I said, and I did a little bit of a reapply to the back of my neck, man, and at lunch. And when I came in, man, I had my supervisor actually put me to the side and was like, hey, some people are saying you smell really good, but it's a little strong. And that's how you know that a fragrance really does kick. Just I had a little time on the way to work for it to settle, but spraying it on and then walking right into the office with it, that was a little bit of an issue for people. But everybody said I smelled wonderful, and I will say this one gets a lot of compliments. I will say that I had it on that first day, driving maybe about maybe 4 or 5 hours. And out of that 4 or 5 hours, I definitely got at least 4 or 5, maybe even 6 compliments. During that time, talking about how good I smelled and how good the car smelled with it being in there. So, if you're looking for compliments, you definitely want to go with something like this. Like I said, if you're not into powdery fragrances, then you may want to stay away from it. But I will say that it is definitely a compliment bomb. People love the way this smells. The longevity on it, I would definitely give it about a good 8 to 10 hours on my skin. It really did last for a while. Of course, like I said, I will decant sometimes, so sometimes it's a little hard. A little harder for me to gauge it. But it actually projected off of my skin, and had a good sillage for, I would say, at least 4 or 5 hours. Now, after that 5 hour mark, it does become slightly more intimate, but you do catch a good sillage coming from it, right? So I like to give the Bay meter on these, and of course, Bay loves it. She's actually a big fan of this particular one. She always like, oh, that smells really, really good. That smells really, really good. Now, of course, the ladies that have smelled this have also said the same thing. So this, if you want to know if this is one that'll get you in some fights, it possibly can. Like I said, mind your P's and Q's, fellas, because it will definitely get you attention, man. So I'll just wrap this up, man. I would say that I got to give this one, it's one of my favorite pickups this year, man, in the last year. So I definitely got to give this at least a good 8 or to 8 to 5 out of 10, man. And it's subtle. It's not a very expensive fragrance, man. You could catch this on Amazon for about $65, $70 at the max, man. And it's worth every penny of that. I mean, it doesn't smell in any way type, cheap or anything like that, man. And it's good to have something that's a specifically blended product instead of just going after, some of the I buys, the inspired buys or the clones. But it's affordable and it fits into that compliment magnet bucket. So I would definitely say, definitely go and invest in this one, man. And if you have any other like feedback on this, hey, just let me know, man. Just get in the comments, talk about it, man. Again, love this one, Narciso Rodriguez, Bleu Noir Parfum. Until next time, man. Hey, I'll see you later. Peace out.